Well, folks, this is the 13.3 mile mark on North Shore Road, and I'm scanning or making a slow pan in the north side of the road here. And this local area here is the West End Wash that I'm going to take a hike through. And what I do want to do is show you a geological map, and here it is. The interesting areas are the TRS, which is the red sandstone unit. The little Q is the actual West End Wash. The JA is the Aztec sandstone. The TMC is the Muddy Creek Formation. And then there's two members of the Horace Springs Formation, THT and THR, the Thumb and the Rainbow Gardens members. But that's what we're going to try to look at, these few formations that are readily visible. Well, anyway, here now I'm going to start my little hike. Again, this is the West End Wash, this area. It's short, maybe a sixth of a mile hike through what I want to look at. And as I've stated before in other videos, I just love taking these little hikes off the road. They're easy to do, and you get to see all these beautiful colors and formations and all the vegetation that is part of a very harsh environment here in the desert, especially in the summertime when it gets so dry and so hot. But of course, this time of the year in late November, early December, the temperatures are so mild and comfortable that it's easy to hike for like an hour and then work your way back, or half an hour, whatever you want to do. But as common with all the washes in this area, you see all this debris on the floor of the wash. This is all the material that's been washed through flooding events over the many thousands of years and beyond that accumulate on the floor. But every time there's a rapid, heavy flood, all this material keeps getting washed further towards the south, towards Lake Mead. But in the distance, you see those cream tan colored ridges way in the back. That's part of the Bitter Ridge limestones. We just keep hiking. As you see the wash, you can drive your vehicle down here and go further to the north and explore other areas, all the mountains to the north. But these features that I'm coming up on, I'm thinking those might be part of the Horace Springs Formation, either the Thumb member or the Rainbow Gardens conglomerate. There's something a little different about this. This might be the Thumb. If there is anyone that's familiar with the Thumb or the Rainbow Gardens conglomerates, feel free to write a comment, bring a little clarification. But the Thumb and the Rainbow, these might be what this is on the right side of the, and this little piece that's in the center here on the center left, based on that geological map. Here we're coming up on it. Walk up close to it and by the side of it. That's a conglomerate with some angular pieces possibly too. This is something different here, I'm guessing. Again, if someone has a clarification, feel free to write a comment. Well, that's a very large exposure, this piece here. Now you're seeing the view of the wash here. An easy hike through this area. This huge red structure in the we're coming up on is the Aztec sandstone. That's the 190 million year old sand dunes that existed all over the southwest USA. And these are remnants of it. Obviously, a lot of erosion has occurred over the many millions of years. And so you're seeing exposures that are still around. It's beautiful reddish pink color. And again, here's this road that you could get your vehicle down, four-wheel drive or whatever, and just drive through this area, and then drive further to the north and east to examine all the mountains that are a few miles from here. But look at that reddish pink Aztec sandstone there. That is just incredible. Now, eventually we'll come up to a fault line that runs through here. It's going to separate this Aztec sandstone from the red sandstone unit. And it's like 11 to 12 million years old, the red sandstone unit. And then with that is a Muddy Creek formation that's 5 to 11 million years old at deposition. Right here is still the Aztec. But there's going to be a point where you don't see, it changes to a different red structure. And that's where the fault line is. It's separating these two. It's a left lateral fault line. Yeah, coming up here, we'll be seeing a different formation. We're getting into the Muddy Creek and some of the red sandstone unit. So the fault must be right around this area here. This is really beautiful through here. An exceptionally beautiful day to get out and hike. Real easy. These hikes are real easy. I don't really carry water with me because I just don't want to handle the weight. I just take a nice big gulp of water before I leave my truck, and that's enough to go on these little hikes. Take your camera and take pictures and video. Again, this is now totally different from the Aztec sandstone. See, it's kind of a light pinkish siltstone, some sandstone, and then the gravel, large gravelly area on the top there, which will eventually be the whole wall. You can see the layered effect. That's not Aztec. That's either Muddy Creek or some red sandstone formations. It's all beautiful. It's all nature at work here. Then we slowly come up on this. It's got to be Muddy Creek up here, where it's just layers and layers of gravel deposits, varying sizes of rocks that are carried with high velocity water, flooding waters. That's settled. Then smaller pebbles and cobbles settled on top of it, then finer pieces. to form these layers, sedimentary layers. And then the event starts again. There's another layer of a large rock fragments, rounded and angular. Here it is right here. This is really an interesting study in climate change that occurred long ago. See it right there, all that heavy, large pieces. That was a heavy, strong storm. But below it was a different time period when the water was very slow, maybe a lake or a river. But you can see, if you look at it closely, there's a layer of these large pieces. Then above it, the smaller ones, and the fine sand under that. Then that big one up there, that's another huge flooding event that came after all of that. No telling how many years later. There could be thousands of years difference in these flooding events, maybe, maybe not. A lot of these pieces are rather angular, so they didn't experience a lot of movement in a river. It was a rapid, they were picked up rapidly and then deposited here in a very strong, heavy storm, water flooding storm event. But if you're into sedimentology, this is really incredible to see this. This is different climatic environments being recorded in this wall here. And over a period of time, it all solidifies into stone, becomes lithified. And now this is a hard stone sedimentary layering here. You have to be here to really appreciate it, but you can see these different examples of the velocity of water changing, like this heavy stuff here, these large pieces, that took a lot of velocity. Then it slowed down, and the stuff above it, smaller, smaller pebbles and cobbles, like right in here. You can see the different velocities. Maybe eventually it just slows down and forms a shallow lake. And it just sits there, and the finer material finally settles in. And then after this, you just see some open desert. Again, those ridges in the center there, half a mile or more away, are the Bitter Ridge limestones. Their depositional period is like 13 to 13.5 million years ago. But I like this because now you're just in the open desert. You have all this vegetation. You can examine now plant life that has adapted to these, like mesquite trees and what have you. Adapted to the extreme heat and dryness. A lot of these little red mounds are the red sandstone unit, that TRS designation. And then the wash sort of curves over to, it's in the center right here, sort of curves to the right or northeast direction. And if you're looking down, there's always some interesting rock specimens and all these fragments that are on the floor of the wash. You can start your rock collection, metamorphic or sedimentary, and even some igneous volcanic rock fragments are down on the floor here. But this is it's just a pleasure as far as I'm concerned to just get out and just walk in the desert like this and see all these geological features. And as I've said before, I'm a beginner at this. If anyone has additional knowledge and they've noticed some things in this video, feel free to write a comment and share your knowledge so that we all of us beginners can get a little smarter with all this. But anyway, thanks everybody for watching the video.